Hey, Chaotic Crew, Brian here. We've got a great new Avatar The Last Airbender deck tech to go over. One of the most popular commanders this set is Toph, the first Metalbender. So wanted to dive into that, this Metalbending 101 deck tech. But before we do, just want to let you know this episode is brought to you by Mana Pool. It's a fast-growing marketplace for Magic the Gathering that makes buying and selling cards easy. Their optimizer helps you get the best value when buying cards, and the team is focused on making it a great experience for buyers and sellers alike. I enjoyed my time using Mana Pool, so definitely check out our affiliate link in the description below so you can check it out yourself if you haven't already. But yeah, thanks to them for helping out the channel. Let's dive into Toph, the first Metalbender. So Toph is a 4-mana 3/3 in Naya color, so red, green, white, for a legendary human warrior ally. She has non-token artifacts you control are lands in addition to their other types. They don't tap for mana, but they just get the land type. And at the beginning of your end step, you Earthbend 2, which makes a land you control a 0/0 creature with haste that's still a land. You put 2+++ counters on it. When it dies or is exiled, return it to the battlefield tapped. So, interesting about Toph, the first Metalbender, is that you initially would think that you want to get these big artifact creatures that become lands, and then you want to give them +++ counters. But the problem with that is that when you Earthbend, you actually make the creatures 0/0s. So I had originally built this deck with a bunch of big bodies, as you know, I love big body cards. And now I'm more of the mindset of, okay, I need to get smaller artifacts, maybe even non-creatures, that, you know, can gain more value from the +++ counters, that can gain more value from being lands. So I had a couple of ideas here with the deck, so I hope you enjoy this deck tech here. Starting off with creatures, we do have 22 of them. Still a very creature-heavy deck. Avatar Kyoshi is great as a good, you know, top-end card. She has Hexproof, and at the beginning of combat on your turn, Earthbend 8, then untap that land. So you can either make one of your lands an 8/8, or you can add 8 counters to a land you already control, right? Very good there, and then you can untap it. And so that is nice to have, right? Just as a final push for a big old land of ours. That could be pretty good. Black Panther, Wakandan King, a great early game card to get out. 2/2 first strike for 2 mana. And whenever he or another creature we control enters, we get a +++ counter on target land, which is great because it doesn't make those lands into creatures or anything. It really just is pretty fantastic and helps get your creatures to be really big really quickly. You can also move all +++ counters from target land to another creature. If one or more +++ counters are moved this way, you gain that much life and draw a card. This is also really good at instant speed to if someone like is targeting one of your land creatures. You can just move all those ++ counters to a different, you know, a card. It can be really useful there. So next we have Bronze Guardian, which is actually really awesome. 5 mana for a star 5. And it has double strike, ward 2, gives our other artifacts you control ward 2. And because it has it in the ability that the power is equal to the number of artifacts you control, it doesn't turn into a 0/0, it turns into a star 0 whenever you Earthbend it, right? So it will lose some toughness, sure, but the double strike really helps with that. And it essentially just gets star plus whatever counters are on it. So I really like that aspect of Bronze Guardian. It's going to hit a little hard, and but protecting our other artifacts is really great as well. Esper Sentinel is neat. Even though you're losing the 1 power, you're getting 2 back at your end step if you have your commander or other ways to Earthbend or give it counters, right? So really good there to have in the deck some card draw as well. Evolution Sage, one of the best cards, right? Every time a land enters, proliferate with their commander out, any non-token artifacts enter will also proliferate. So really great. Foundry Inspector makes our artifacts cost 1 less, which is nice to have. Great Divide Guide, taps for 1 of any color and also makes each of our non-token artifacts tap for 1 mana of any color, so great to have here. Haywire Might, non-token artifact, and can also use it to destroy an artifact or non-creature enchantment, so really solid there. Kutsil, I love Kutsil here, and pretty much makes it so that players can't cast spells in your turn, but we're also going to draw a few cards with Kutsil as well. Solid to have in any +1/+1 counter strategy. Lotus Cobra is also great, similar to Evolution Sage. Its ability will proc whenever any non-token artifact enters as well. not just lands, so really solid to just quickly, get things out of control on our board, kind of run through our hand. Ornithopter Paradise is a good mana dork that also, can become a 2/2, or it can be earthbended to get +1/+1 counters. We don't mind becoming a 0/0 from a 0/2 because then it gets counters anyways. Paladin Dance Steel Maverick is kind of towing that line though, right? Vigilance and lifelink, so we like it to be more power, right? So you want to kind of earthbend this a couple different times for this to get more value. But the second ability is Exile Paladin Dance. Each creature you control that's an artifact or human, and our commander is human, right? Gains indestructible until end of turn. So this is nice, but it's also, you don't want to put too many resources into Paladin Dance. Yeah, so not amazing, but also not terrible either. Patrolling Peacemaker is great. It'll enter with 2/1 counters already. It's already a 0/0, so earthbending this doesn't really affect it at all, except, giving it more counters. Whenever an opponent commits a crime, you also proliferate. So another great proliferate engine in here to get your creatures really, really strong. Pyrowood Gearhulk is in here as another top end, right? We got like the Avatar Kyoshi. Pyrowood Gearhulk is a great top end. 7/7 Vigilance Menace. When it enters, other creatures you control get +2/+2 and gain Vigilance and Menace until end of turn. Damage can't be prevented this turn, so someone can't get out of this with like a Teferi's Protection or anything. So pretty nice to have in this deck, I think. It fits the theme of like artifacts, but you really don't want to be earthbending this because removing 7 power is not ideal. But having a 7/7 Vigilance and Menace is not bad. Roaming Throne is fantastic in here. It's can obviously be earthbended, and because if you're earthbending twice, it essentially becomes a 4/4 anyways with your commander, right? You're going to choose humans, and when it enters, and then it becomes a human, and then triggering your commander twice is nice. Always good to have. Steel Seraph is pretty cool. It will start as a 3/3, right? So we don't hate making it a 0/0 with 2 counters immediately, right? We also are making sure that at the beginning of combat, we're giving something big. So we can start to build this up and get it stronger as we keep going. Surge Conductor, similar to Patrolling Peacemaker and Evolution Sage, are, again, another great proliferate engine in the deck. Probably not going to do it every turn, but maybe, going to be able to proliferate 3-4 times maybe in a game at least, so that'll be nice to have. And also an artifact that we don't mind making a creature with earthbending, so nice there. Survey Mechan is really great. 4 mana for a 1/3. Flying Hexproof. You can pay 10 mana, sacrifice a creature, deals 3 damage to any target. Target player draws 3 cards and gains 3 life, but it costs X less to activate, where X is the number of differently named lands you control. So each of our non-token artifacts are already lands. So just by playing 4 mana, right, we can pay 4 mana to draw 3 cards and deal 3 damage to something. Is not bad at all, right? Good to have here. And this is a Flying Hexproofer, not something we don't mind also sort of putting our resources into. Threefold Thunderhulk, another great top-end card here, probably the last one to really mention. It's already a 0/0, so love that. Enters with 3 counters on it, and whenever it enters or attacks, you make a number of 1/1 gnomes equal to its power. And you can sacrifice another artifact to continue giving it more +1/+1 counter. So this is really great to have. Earthbending it will just continue to make it that much bigger. Tireless Provisioner, similar to Lotus Cobra, is just going to keep providing us so much value, right? We can get some life gain too off of this if we want some foods, or if we're going to stick with treasures, the treasure works too. So really great to have there. And then we have 2 more ways to like really earthbend on our creatures. Toph, Earthbending Master, obviously landfall, giving us an experience counter, and then when we attack, we earthbend X, where X is the number of experience counters we have. So really strong there to get a bunch of counters on one of our artifacts, or maybe even an actual land of ours. Toph, Greatest Earthbender, is neat, right? You're just spending 4 mana and you'll earthbend 4, and then land creatures you control have double strikes are really fantastic as well to do a lot of damage there. For sorceries, we only have 5. 4 of them are ramp spells, right? Shared Roots, Farseek, Nature's Lore, 3 visits, always great to have. We also have Planar Outburst, which destroys all non-land creatures. Very few creatures are going to be land creatures, so pretty much only going to be our artifacts, right? So really great here. Kind of a mostly one-sided board wipe. We can also pay larger to get 4 counters on another land we control if we want to, if we have that mana, but not necessary there. For instance, we've got 11 of them. A couple are, Harrow and Cycle of Renewal for more land ramp, but then the rest is pretty much removal. We got Nature's Claim, Swords to Plowshares, Generous Gift, Chaos Warp, Beast Within. And then we have Boros Charm and Earth Shape as protection spells. Earth Shape is a new spell that Earth spends 3. Then each creature you control with power less than or equal to that land's power gains hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. And then we gain hexproof until end of turn, which is really cool too. So pretty much anti-board wipe there. And then Chroma's Will, is going to be fantastic to end the game as well. And then Dispatch, another removal spell that I didn't mention earlier. Artifacts, you do have 16 of them. These are also cards that will become lands when they enter the battlefield, so good to note there. Adamantium Bonding Tank is just fantastic for all these +1/+1 counters. As our creatures die, they go into Adamantium Bonding Tank, and if we end up earthbending it, it becomes a creature with a massive amount of counters, so always great to have there. Arcane Signet, obviously, that's a great ramp tool. Other good ramp tools in here are Heaped Harvest, and Earth Crystal with, making our spells cost 1 less, but also gives all of our creatures extra +1/+1 counters, so that's great there. We also have Prize Statue with when it enters and when it gets put in the graveyard, we make a treasure token, so it kind of replaces itself mana-wise. Something really crazy here, Blackblade Reforged, to give a ton of power to maybe our commander or another creature. Liquid Metal Torque is a ramp artifact that can also make our commander a artifact or something to sort of start buffing our commander, which is really strong. We don't really want to make our commander a target, but it could make another one of our big creatures into an artifact, and or small ones to really start making the most out of that as well. Other great cards in here, Exploration Broodship to give us additional lands and casting permanent spells from our graveyards. Chocobo Racetrack to get chocobos for each land, and they also have landfall triggers, so also really good in the deck. Crucible of Worlds to get lands from our graveyard. Ichor Wellspring to draw us cards. Heaped Harvest to ramp us out as well. Swiftfoot Boots for protection. The Great Hinge is always solid, especially if we can get a strong creature out there. This is just good to put +1/+1 counters on all of our creatures, and drawing us cards, just really solid altogether. The Regalia, actually putting vehicles in here in general is not a terrible idea, but you are pretty much ignoring their power and toughness box to make them, to earthbend them, right? But this is good just to get some more lands out. And then we have Lumbering World Wagon, which is probably the best card in the deck. It's a 3-mana star 4. Its power is equal to the number of lands you control, so similar to Bronze Guardian here. Instead of power numbered to artifacts, it's numbered to lands, which we're bound to have more of. It doesn't have double strike, but when it enters, you may search your library for a basic land, put it on the battlefield, and shuffle. And when it attacks, it can also do that as well. So earthbending this is just gonna, make it crazy. So very strong there. Ozolith gives us double counters as well, or an extra counter, and can also activate to put counters on stuff. So pretty solid we've got going on here, and that's not even to talk about the enchantments, which are even more here, right? Annie joins up, it's just making our commander trigger an additional time. We don't have too many earthbending triggers in the deck, just the 3 Tophs, so being able to trigger a commander twice a turn is really nice. Earthbender Ascension, it does earthbend 2 on entering, but it also gets a land card when it enters, and then you can start putting +1/+1 counters on creatures and giving a trample when you play lands. So pretty good there. Felidar Retreat gets +1/+1 counters on each creature we control when a land enters. Terra Symbiosis, whenever we put +1/+1 counters on creatures, we draw that many cards once each turn. Sphere Grid can also give creatures +1/+1 counters and trample, so really good there. Garruk's Uprising will draw us some cards and give us those creatures trample. Rhythm of the Wild provides haste or counters. Invigorating Hot Spring provides haste and counters as well. And then Terra Eternal makes all of our lands indestructible, so really good here in this deck that cares about making our cards into lands. And then for 36 lands, not bad. Yavimaya is really great to make all of our artifacts be able to tap for green, at least. That's not bad. We've got Abandoned Air Temple to put +1/+1 counters on each of our creatures, and Buried Ruin to get an artifact out of our graveyard, Inventor's Fair to maybe search up an artifact. Everything else is pretty normal here, but let's go ahead and give a playtest a go. Okay, This is the first hand, 2 lands, no ramp pieces yet. We do draw the Ornithopter of Paradise, which is the clutch top deck. Enchantments Garden's nice, but we're going to play Exotic Orchard first so we can play Ornithopter. Right, next turn we can play Black Panther if we want, or Haywire might, or Patrolling Peacemaker might be better. Next turn, we could also, we do have the mana now, because assuming Exotic Orchard tap, we drew a card we can play and then cast our commander and then go ahead and start Earthbending. So not bad. And that way Black Panther can actually do something the next turn, and he joins up, can be good as well that we can cast. So yeah, there's some options we have going on here. Let's try a Bending Temple and cast Toph. And then at the end of our turn, Ornithopter Paradise will get 2+++ counters. Becomes a 2/2. Okay, next turn we play the Jetmir's Garden tapped. We're on turn 4. We can Patrolling Peacemaker. We can Black Panther and Black Blade Reforged. We can Annie joins up to start really getting our Ornithopter of Paradise big, which I don't hate at all, right? This is a removal for maybe a problematic piece, and then it's going to double our commander triggers. So I'm going to Earthbend 4, essentially, and make this now a 6/6 flyer. So this will keep getting bigger. Eventually, we can Black Blade Reforged as well and make it even bigger and just start swinging in for massive damage. And it'll cause someone to have to remove this Ornithopter of Paradise. So really good there. And Black Panther will also come in, and what you can do is you can pay 3 mana to remove all the +++ counters from the Ornithopter of Paradise if someone removes it to itself, right? Gain that much life and draw a card. So it's honestly really, really good there, as well as Patrolling Peacemaker. So we've got a lot of stuff working well together here, right? Not a ton of card draw. Black Panther can draw a card a turn, but it is still pretty neat. And Cutsil with the next card, that does have a lot of card draw, so honestly great hand. Next we will keep this one. This is honestly pretty great. We have 2 lands, 2 ramp pieces, Crucible Worlds, and Adamantium Bonding Tank. So let's go ahead and draw for turn. Bronze Guardian's not bad. We'll go ahead and play the Ozolith. And turn 2, we do get another land, which is kind of amazing. Let's go ahead and Nature's Lore and grab the Jetmir's Garden. Alright, turn 3, we can go ahead and play Exotic Orchard and cast our commander. And what we can do is now Earthbend the Adamantium Bonding Tank. Now it has +2/+2 counters at the end step. And what's great is at the beginning of combat, if we can keep giving this counters, we can move all the counters to Toph and start making Toph big. So that's really cool there. Next turn, turn 4, someone hasn't removed the Ozolith or our commander, which is possible, right? It can totally happen. Now we can do stuff. We can play Bronze Guardian. We can play this Chroma's Will. Probably not worth playing that yet, right? Until we get some bigger boards. Arcane Signet is not bad. I like Bronze Guardian though. Bronze Guardian's good. And that way we can start moving the counters from here to here. And then we can start Earthbending this, right? So that's kind of the idea there. No, I like this. Again, not a lot of card draw. We don't need a ton of card draw, but we do need some here to kind of get going. But yeah, not a bad position, right? Giving our Ozolith Ward 2, and also going to be getting bigger and bigger here. Next turn we can play, Arcane Signet. And we do have a Chroma's Will for like protection, dispatch as removal, so that's really good. Yeah, not in a bad spot at all, but also not an amazing spot here. But that's kind of the deck, obviously. This deck needs a lot more testing, a little more complicated of a commander coming from the set to really be very efficient and, consistent, right? But otherwise, pretty fun to work with. No surprise why Toph is sort of the biggest commander out of the set. Let me know what cards you put in, what cards you take out. If you liked the video, leave a like. If you enjoy the channel, If you enjoy the content, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We do have some upcoming giveaways with the new Lorwyn commanders coming out, and of course the Ninja Turtle commander. So keep an eye out on those pre-con upgrades. That will be in the future. And if you become a channel member, you get an extra entry into those pre-con giveaways. I've got that Mana Pool affiliate link in the description below, but also don't forget to check out the deck list there too. And otherwise, you all take care. I'll be back next time. Bye.